A blessed morning to everybody. A blessed week po sa panibagong linggo po natin lahat. STEM students, STEM people, welcome to quarter 2. Mag-start na po tayo magsagot ng inyo pong Q2 SIM number 1 or your quarter 2 self-instructional material. So, kung titingnan po natin, no, 6 pong SIM yung nagdaan po sa ating pong Q1 sa ating pong quarter 1. Kung katumbas po nito ang mga lesson po from the earth characteristic, no, nalaman po natin yung marami pong kabuluhan, marami pong idea about po sa earth characteristic. Hanggang napunta po tayo sa pinaka-last lesson po natin, which is the Q1 SIM number 6 po, na nakita po natin gaano po kahalaga yung practical na nakikita po natin sa mundong ibabaw po. So ngayon po, pupunta po tayo sa ating pong panibagong lesson, no? Which is under po ng quarter 2, SIM number 1, which is about the weathering and erosion. So, hayaan po natin tayo po'y makapakinig, tayo po'y makinig sa mga ilang bagay po patungkol po sa ating topic about weathering and erosion.
How can this cave be carved out of solid rock? Weathering and erosion work together to get the job done. Welcome to Moo Math and Science and Weathering and Erosion. Weathering breaks the rock down, and erosion carries this rock away. Sandy beach is an example of weathering. Parts of this sand at one time was quartz that was broken apart, traveled down rivers and streams, and ended up as small as a grain of sugar. Weathering of rocks is a physical or chemical change that changes the characteristics of the rocks on Earth. There are two major types: physical weathering, which involves breaking rocks into smaller fragments caused by environmental factors, and chemical weathering, which are changes that involve rocks being changed into new substances or minerals chemically. Let's look at three major types of physical weathering: abrasion, frost wedging, and thermal stress. Abrasion is mechanical scraping and can be caused by several factors. Basically, these factors just break the rock apart: wind, water or waves, glaciers, gravity, and even plants and animals. Frost wedging occurs as water expands as it freezes, and this can cause the rock to break apart. Thermal stress is a type of weathering where heat and changes in temperature cause the rocks to expand and contract, and this can break the rock apart. Next, let's look at chemical changes of weathering. Remember, a chemical change creates a new substance. There are three major types. First, oxidation occurs as oxygen combines with iron in the rock and creates a new compound. When iron reacts with oxygen, it forms iron oxide, commonly called rust, and this weakens the rock. Hydrolysis occurs when hydrogen or hydrate replaces the ion and creates a new substance. For example, hydrolysis causes feldspar to turn into clay. And finally, carbonation is the process of mixing water with carbon dioxide to make carbonic acid. This acid then breaks down and weakens rocks. Caves may be formed by carbonation dissolving limestone. Rainwater picks up the carbon dioxide from the air, and as it percolates through the soil, slowly dissolves out the limestone. It breaks down the rock. Then erosion carries the rock away. Erosion happens when rocks and sediments are picked up and moved to another place. It could be moved by water, wind, ice, and even gravity. Erosion can occur slowly over time, like this sand dune, or quickly, like this flood. There are several different methods of erosion. Remember, weathering breaks down the rock, then erosion moves the rock away. Rainfall can cause erosion and wash sediment away. Valley erosion occurs when rushing streams and rivers move rock and sediment downstream. Oceans are a huge force of erosion. Wind can cause erosion. A dust storm can be a huge force of erosion. Glaciers and ice can erode rock away. Greenland and Antarctica have huge glaciers that move rock from one area of another. In summary, weathering breaks down the rock and erosion moves this rock away. If you'd like to know more about weathering and erosion, this playlist will help. And as always, thanks for watching.
Okay po. So, dun po sa mga bagay po na nakita po natin about weathering and erosion po, yung marami pong bagay po na kailangan po natin malaman about the weathering, which is the breaking apart, which is magdadala nito, which is the transportation na gagawin po ni erosion. No? Tapos po, ang drop-off po, yung tinatawag po natin deposition. Tapos po, napansin po natin on the video clip, no? Meron po tayong bagay po sa weathering, which is the physical and chemical weathering po, no? Yung tinatawag po na thermal stress, no? Bagay po na makita po natin yung surface area po na gaano kahalaga yung climate po, no? Yung climate po talaga, yung ambag mismo doon sa surface area, why we have a thermal stress. No? So para po sa magpatuloy pa rin po tayo para po sa ating pong lesson po about weathering and erosion. Share screen lang po ako ulit. No? Ayan. Na po kita po lahat yung ating pong mapag-uusapan po about weathering and erosion. Once again, when we talk about weathering is a process at or near Earth's surface that cause rocks and minerals to break down. So mapapansin po natin, ito yung step 1. No? After po niya, pupunta siya kay erosion because erosion is the process of removing earth materials from their original site through weathering and transporting. No? Bagay po na meron pa pong isang tinatawag po doon. After ng weathering, erosion, after ng erosion, magkakaroon ng deposition. Yung deposition po, hindi lang po natin nasama dito, pero ang pinakatinukoy po ay yung weathering and erosion. Si deposition po, siya po yung dropping off. Siya po yung mismong pinaka-last step po or stage po from weathering hanggang kay deposition. Pero tingnan pa po natin kung anong meron pa po kay weathering. Si weathering po, we have a mechanical and chemical. Yung mechanical po, parang tawag na din po natin ng physical weathering po, which is process that break a rock or mineral into smaller pieces without altering its composition. And then when we talk about chemical weathering, it's process that change the chemical composition of rocks and minerals po. So mapapansin po natin, no, when we talk about mechanical weathering process, ito po yung marami pong binigay na bagay po about the physical or mechanical weathering. Meron po nabanggit kanina sa video clip po, no, thermal stress or thermal expansion and construction. So yun po yung pinakabagay po na mapapansin po natin dahil malaking ambag yung changing noong temperature po natin. Lalo na po ngayon, no, sa buong mundo po, halos sabay-sabay, 3 active volcano po ang sabay-sabay pong nag-alboroto, yung iba po sumasabog na. So talaga pong nakita po natin yung maaaring ambag nila doon sa process ni weathering, erosion, and deposition. No? So ito po yung mga sample breakdown process po pagdating po kay mechanical weathering process, no? Dagdag po natin diyan, no, sabi po, no, 'pag tinawag daw po ng frost action, no, ito po yung frost wedging po, which is freezing of ice, cracks, rocks. So yun po yung process po pagdating kay frost wedging o frost action. Mapapansin po natin yung tinatawag po diyan na exfoliation. Sa exfoliation po is alternating hot, cold, cracks, rocks. Cracks po, no? And then may tinatawag po tayong abrasion po by wind, water, or gravity. Breaking of rocks, again, rocks po tayo doon. Meron din po tayong tinatawag din po dyan plant growth, no? Yung right after po ng process po from weathering to erosion po. No? Ito po yung tinatawag po natin root wedging po. No? Yung root wedging po, sabi nga po doon, plant roots growing into rocks. So yun po yung isang bagay po pagdating po kay plant growth. Tinatawag po natin root wedging. No? So, yun po yung mga meron po tayo pagdating po sa ating physical or mechanical weathering po. The process and agents of mechanical weathering, frost wedging po, yan po yung sample on the PowerPoint presentation po natin. No? Napansin po natin yung expansion po, no, because of water. Ito po yung sample pa po ng frost wedging po in soil. Ito naman po si thermal expansion and construction po. No? Sabi ko nga po, thermal stress. Ambag na rin po na meron po tayo makikita dyan because of different temperature po around the world, around the globe. Exfoliation po, again sa exfoliation po, alternating hot, cold, cracks, rocks po ang meron po. Yung pinaka-angkop po about the exfoliation. Ito po yung mga sample po ng exfoliation po natin. Dome exfoliation. Sa abrasion po, we have a kind process po na sabi ko nga dito, pwede daw po na the sediments can be moved neither wind or water or even the large rock section given by the gravity. Po. Wind abrasions po, meron po tayo dyan. Wind water po, meron din. Ito po yung sinasabi ko po kanina na root wedging po. Yung root wedging po natin because of the plant growth as plants as trees send out root system. Ito po yung mga plant roots growing into rocks. No, makadalasan po nakakita po tayo niyan katulad po nitong plant wedging po natin or root wedging po natin. No? Ito po. Punta naman po tayo sa tinutukoy naman po nating another type of weathering which is the chemical weathering. Sa chemical weathering po, meron po tayong tinatawag na oxidation and carbonation po. No? Meron din po tayong dissolving o dissolution and hydrolysis po. No? Tingnan po natin yung tinatawag po nating dissolving or dissolution po. No? Mapapansin po natin yung pinaka-features po na meron po doon sa mga cave or which is mga limestone po, pwede po doon. No? And pagdating naman po kay oxidation, ang sabi po kay oxidation, ito po yung mga parang iron plus oxygen, tinatawag po natin mga rust or iron oxide, ito yung mga parang malakalawang. No? Ito po yung pwede natin sabihin ng mga pink rusts. No, for example, the iron containing mineral pyrite form a rusty colored mineral called lamonite. No? So mapapansin po ano siya, malaking ambag talaga yung process ni chemical weathering pagdating po kay mga rusty o yung pinaka-tinatawag po nating mga iron, no? Tinatawag natin yung iron oxygen, yung iron oxide po. Yun po, pwede po natin talaga siyang may pasok po sa ating pong process of chemical weathering. Next po natin, ito po yung sample nga po ni pyrite going to limonite o limonite. Sa pyrite oxidation po ito, no? Because of the process of the chemical weathering. Ito po, no, another thing po na mapansin po natin sa chemical weathering po that minerals may chemically combined with water molecules to form a new mineral. So, ito po yung pinaka mapapansin po natin, no? From feldspar, mapapunta po siya ng tinatawag po nating clay, like clay po, no? So, ito po yung isang process po pagdating kay chemical weathering, no? So, yun po yung mga some factors affecting chemical weathering, the climate, the surface area, the time, plant and animals, and mineral composition po. So, yun po yung pinaka-target po natin malaman kay weathering, which is yung two types niya, the chemical and then yung mechanical or physical weathering po natin. Mapapansin po natin dito sa ating pong process, no? Sabi ko nga po kanina, yung malaking ambag, yung pinaka-major na ambag na pwedeng mapansin po natin, which is the climate, the hardness, no? The thermal stress, or even tinatawag po natin surface area. Dito naman po kay weathering and erosion. Weathering erosion po, no? Sabi nga po dito, weathering produce regolite, rock blanket, which is composed of small rock and minerals fragments. When organic matter is mixed into these materials, it is called soil. So may process po kagad dun pa lang po sa dalawang tinutukoy po natin. No? Sabi po dito, sabi ko nga po, no, weathering, erosion, deposition. Sa erosion transport agents or forces po, ito nga po yung ambag ni water, wind, and gravity. Alam naman po natin, siya yung magta-transport, no? Depende sa gravity, depende sa wind, at depende dun sa process o dun sa type of water na meron po, which is mapa-glacier, ocean dynamics, rivers, or even rain. Okay po? Depende na rin po sa tutukuyin po natin na winds, humidity, wind speed, or wind velocity. No? Pag gravity naman po, depende na lang po sa gravitational force ang meron po tayong pwedeng matukoy po. Okay po? So, yun po yung process po na meron po tayo o meron po tayong angkop po na malaman po natin pagdating kay weathering and erosion. Basta po, lagi po natin tandaan, weathering is most affected by the climate, the hardness of the rock, and the amount of exposed surface area. Sa tatlo po, ulitin ko po yung tatlo, climate, the hardness of the rock, and the surface area na makikita po natin pagdating po doon kay weathering. So yun po, palagi lang po natin tandaan, no, summary lang po natin, weathering, ito po yung breaking apart. Si erosion po, siya po yung magdadala nito, depende kay water, kay wind, or gravity. At pagdating po kay deposition, dapping off. Pinaka last point po siya. Why we think the process or why we think what is the comparison between the weathering, the erosion, and tinatawag po nating deposition. So yun lang po, STEM student. God bless you all. Nawa po naintindihan po natin ang lesson po natin for this week about weathering and erosion. God bless you all. Thank you so much po.